Hello and welcome back to That Writer Guy podcast. I am your host, Lyman Raitt, and we are on part 7 of this world building series, and we are getting into the final stretch here of this series. Now, I have touched base on a number of key elements needed for solid world building, and in this episode, I am going to discuss the legal and government aspects that should or need to be at least considered when world building. The legal system of a world includes laws, rules, judgment, consequences, and has those who either abide by the legal system and those who don't. Since the legal system generally starts at the top with laws and rules, it is fitting that I start there as well. When creating a world, a system of law and order will automatically be put into place. This is something that is done with or without knowledge, but the truth is the instinctive thing when writing is to create a world that is inherently good, and it is only with thought that we can write in lawless and bad things. We can create worlds, lands, cities, towns, and all of these places do need some kind of structure within. I'm not talking about how they should be laid out, as you can make them however you wish, and in as intricate or as simple a layout as you want. But they should have some type of law and governing body. Even in the Wild Wild West, in fantasy, in science fiction or other genres, there are some kind of law or governing body. It can be as simple as one person that is in charge of what happens and what is right and wrong. Or it can be as complex as different branches, different groups, different people who sit on a council. Whatever you decide you want to do, you need to make sure it works all the way through. By this I mean you need to have what is good and what can be constituted as bad figured out, and then potential consequences if the laws are broken. In my fantasy series, when someone smuggles something in and is caught, they either are banned from the city or thrown into the dungeons. Or if they're caught doing something wrong in a smaller city or village, they are put in the shackles and left in the center square or imprisoned at the jail. By having laws and those who enforce the laws, it allows the readers and you as the writer to have some sense of order and decency. What I mean by decency is that those who follow the order and law will not be stand out, and you can write your story and characters to have focus on them and them alone. But adding in savory characters and people they meet along the way who are troublemakers, or even the characters themselves are troublemakers, can add a completely different level of interest and curiosity to the book and story. But I want to move over to the government side of things. There are a lot of different types of governments that you can use when you're writing your world. I would devote an entire episode, if not more, just to governments, but I won't bore people with that, so I'm adding it to this episode. From anarchy, democracy, monarchy, republic, totalitarian, oligarchy, federation, theocracy, or communist, the deciding factor for how you will see your world, and the governing body or bodies that will be within your world. Some of the more common governments are those that are democracy, monarchy, tyranny, republic, or communist. However, a lot can also be decided on based upon the time period or time frame you are wanting your world to be from or in. Medieval time period generally was a monarch with a king or queen. That is the usual for medieval times and many fantasies. However, I can tell you that I see more of a republic in my fantasy series because it fit what I was wanting to do. With a council, a high wizard, a high elder, things can be decided by the council. I felt that was more important in total control for me than just have one single person in control overall. Yet I mixed things up even more by adding elements of different governments in my world, and it makes it that more exciting. With governments, you need to consider all the types of governments that will be in not just the world overall, but to develop them all way down the line when it comes to your lands. Your lands all need to have some kind of governing force unless you have decided you just don't want any governing bodies at all. When it comes to the area or region, and even far as a city and villages, everything needs to have some kind of governmental structure. Everything has a place and order and a way of doing things. This is especially true in a war-type situation. The people will be looking towards someone with authority or some people with authority, and without a governing place and system, chaos will ensue. From lord and nobility to kings, queens, presidents, and other things, Having an order of government will surprisingly allow you to keep order without even really thinking about it, this order. It will let the writing take shape and move forward with order and law in the background, so to speak. The same can be also said with money. If you take the time to develop your monetary system and your legal government system, they will work for you more than hinder you. Now, this was a shorter episode than some of the others, but I felt this was necessary and a necessary episode. And yes, I could have discussed at great length different aspects and types of government, but honestly, I didn't want to bore anyone to sleep, especially if they're commuting to work. No accidents. I don't want that to be on my conscience. And that is everything I have for this episode, and I thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast, which is when we're going to get in the final episode of our world building series with part 8, and that is our conclusion and wrap-up session for the series. That's all the time I have for today, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. I look forward to being with you again, but until then, keep the words flowing, the ideas going, and happy writing.